Hello and welcome to another edition of Scale JDM Reviews. And on the desk today you can see that we have the Jiotto Caspita. This car is basically a direct descendant from the Dome Zero, the last car that we reviewed on this channel. But the difference between the Dome Zero and this car is that this car was actually designed back in 1989. So this was a good full almost 10 years or so after the Dome Zero. They formed a company called Jiotto Design Studio, and they were the guys that penned the design or basically created the shape of the car. The engineering side of it, the mechanics, etc. were left to Dome to work on and perfect. But unfortunately, kind of going down the same fate as the Dome Zero, this car never made it to production. Not due to regulations this time, it was more because basically the Japanese economy bubble burst. So the car that you can see in front of you, this is actually the Mark 1 version. There were two. Technically there were three designs. I've never seen a picture of the third, but the Mark 1 has these kind of dual heart kind of headlights. The Mark 2 has a singular circle headlight, and the wing mirrors are slightly different as well. There are a few other design features that were changed, but most notably the main difference between the two cars were the engine. This particular car had a Subaru flat 12 engine. It had about 430 horsepower, and it was for back in the day, it was pretty damn powerful. It was like literally Lamborghini Ferrari territory. The Mark II was even better. It had a V10 engine, but it produced almost 600 horsepower. So these things weren't slow. If you compare that to the paltry 140 horsepower of the Dome Zero, you can see that they've actually come a long way. Anyway, enough about history. Let's look at the model kit itself. As you can see, this is a Fujimi kit. It was made in 1989, which was, thereabouts when the car came about. The car hadn't been slated for release when this kit was made. In fact, the instructions of the kit do say that the car will be released pretty soon, and it will be amazing. But obviously, that wasn't to pass. This is a Fujimi kit, as you can see. Nice artwork. There was only one tooling ever made of this kit. They never re-released it after this particular run. Typical kind of Fujimi box art at the time. You do get a shot of the engine there, which is included. Unfortunately, it's just a top-down brick top-end version of the engine. There's no cylinder block. There's no oil pan. No exhausts. No nothing. It's literally just what you see there, molded. Which is fine, because there weren't. I don't suppose there were many of these engines about at the time to model from. The interior is nice and futuristic. As you've got the red seats there with the very bucket types, and obviously compared to the Dome Zero kit, which we reviewed last time, the interior on this car is a lot more detailed. So let's just have a quick look around the box. Yeah, just fairly typical. Right, so let's see what's inside. And as normal, we can't do this with the bags on. This is a kit I will be building, so I'm going to keep it off. I'm going to keep the bags off anyway. But obviously, just for the ease of reviewing, let's get rid of anything we don't need. And there she is. You can see it's quite a basic kit. There's not a lot of parts, but obviously the kit is quite visually stunning once it's built. So push it out of the way. Okay, so we have the windows. You've got the all-in-one piece here for the main cockpit. So you'd have to paint the outlines here in silver. The car actually had gold wing doors, which is why you can see them slightly separate there. But this would need to be painted and masked off in order to be semi-realistic on the car. You've got the rear window, and you've also got this kind of divider window. This would go behind the back seats between the rear bulkhead and the engine. You have the headlights just there, and the rear lights. We've got some fog lights down there and some indicators. Okay, next we have the cockpit. Very race inspired, very reminiscent of any other two-seater rear-engined or mid-engined, I should say, sports car. We have the bucket seats there. We have the dashboard, which is very functional, I would say. You also have the interior door cards, and that engine, which basically looks like anything out of a kind of a futuristic Hot Wheels toy of some sort, where nothing really makes any sense, but yeah, that's an engine. Yeah, okay, but like I said, it is just a top end block, not really anything else below that. Obviously you've got the brake discs, the dual caliper of course, because back in the day this car would go very fast and it needed to stop very quickly. These would be the fronts, these would be the rears, hence the smaller caliper on there. Then you've got the steering knuckles there, and the bottom part of the steering there, the suspension. Okay, so now we have the chassis, which actually looks pretty awesome, to be fair. This is properly race inspired. You've got the ground effects, you've got the aerodynamics. It actually looks really nice. On here we have all the suspension parts. You've got the handbrakes, wing mirrors there. You've got the interior, you've got the steering wheel. Maybe I should do it this way up. There we go, the steering wheel, the pedals, you've got the windscreen wipers, the steering arm. You've got the radiators, which would go into the side ducts on either side of the car, and of course those headlights. Okay, we're just going to move that body aside. We're going to take a look at these wheels. Yep, these are still sealed. There we go. So let's get these out, shall we? A closer look. These are quite nicely designed wheels, to be fair. I'll give you a good look at these. These on the right hand side are the back wheels. They're a lot wider, I think, in real 1/1 terms. I think these would be 335s. I think the fronts would be probably 235s or 245s or something like that. Yes, and they've also got the exhaust pipes on there, just there as well. Not really too much else to say about them. They're functional. To be honest, when I build this, I may actually redesign those slightly different to bring them a bit more up to date. We'll see. The kit also comes with some cabling. I'm not 100% what that's for. That's probably for the engine bay, for the wiring. We've got two sets of poly caps. We have here some mesh, which is now sticking to the polystyrene there. There we go. So there's the mesh. This is for inside the air vents on either side, and for the front as well. And of course we have a solid rear axle. No engine in this kit, no motor. As in, if you remember with the Dome Zero kit, there was an electric motor that came with the kit. Now in the following iterations of the Dome Zero kit, they omitted that engine. It was literally something they used to do back in the early 80s and even into the 90s with some cars, but this car never had it. So this is strictly a static kit. Right, now up for the decals. Here we go, let's have a look. And there we go. I don't know if you can see them too well on the camera. I'll put it onto the big screen for you. They have yellowed quite a lot, to be fair. That is normal for extremely old kits like this. But we have quite a lot of detail on these decals. You've obviously got powered by Subaru, because the engine in the Mark 1 was a Subaru engine. It's a Subaru V12. We've got these red ones which go on the side, either side. I'm guessing that's fuel filler caps. We've got obviously the seatbelt harnesses just there. We've got the Caspita name, various warning signs. You've got a lot of dials inside the car, speedo, things like that, and you've also got the badges that go on and around the car. Okay, last but not least, let's take a look at this body shell. There we go. Beautiful, striking shell. Very reminiscent of a lot of the prototypes that were about in that kind of era. Very sleek wind tunnel designs. I'm a bit disappointed to see that this spoiler is moulded in place, because in the real car this would actually raise up under speed. Obviously you've got the side air vents, which would help cool the radiators down for the engine. The twin headlights. Of course this bit would be removed because you've got that all-in-one like mono-piece window. And yeah, that's really quite it. It's you can see how it was made in sections during the original casting. I'm guessing that was from the very first mould they were using. But on top you can't see anything really. There are some mould lines here. You can see there's one there that would need to be completely sanded down. I'm guessing there's one on the other side, which there is. It shouldn't take too much to go through it. All in all, quite a stunning looking car, to be fair. It's a shame it didn't make it into production. Okay, now on for the instructions. Let's take a look at this. There we go. So at the bottom we can see all the parts, so you can double check that everything is in the box when you need it. I'm not sure why they gave us 2 sets of polyfiller caps. Maybe the wheels, the hubs actually need 2 either side, maybe because they're quite wide. It's very possible that's the case, which is why they were giving us some extra ones. Okay, so here we have all the paint codes, obviously how the car's going to look when it's finished. We go across to the next page. So we start off with the wheels, and you can see that yes, in fact, you do need the twin poly caps, and these are pushed in place by a separate pin, which is of course on the sprues. Then you've got the brakes that go on top of them. They're held in place by a pin onto the hub. So that's the front and rear. Obviously then you start working on the suspension, which you have just there on the front, putting the top struts, followed by the steering arm, then you add in the lower subframe and the wheels. There we go. So in the bottom you start on the rear of the car. You've got the rear part of the suspension, spring shock assembly, and then the metal bar goes straight through the centre of all that pretty much. And there we go. So you can see that you add the wheels in, you add the brakes first, then you add the wheels on either side, and then it's a case of starting to build the interior. Now obviously that one section there is purely just to add the pedals. Right, so on the next one we add in the radiators and the exhaust tips, and then it's on to the interior with painting and detailing and the transfers for the dashboard. Next we have the seats and the interior parts, the door mouldings. We can move on to the next page. We have the assembly of everything going together. So you've got the dashboard going on, that separator window, the engine's going to go into place, and we find out why we need that black cable, because there is some detail, which is a nice little thing, to be honest. It still looks to me some sort of random top end of the engine bay to me, but you know, it was nice for them to include the detail. Then the interior tub gets added to the chassis, and then the window, once painted, goes into place with the wing mirrors and the window wiper. And it does tell you to remove that bit in case that wasn't obvious. Right, now we have the headlight construction, the indicators, things like that, the other wing mirrors, and in the back we have the back window and the back lights. Finally we have the grille piece, which is purely just for that front part of the radiator. I don't remember seeing that going into the side vents at all on the car anywhere in these instructions, but honestly I probably would put it in there as well. And then it's just a simple case of putting the body on the shell and you are finished. Not too difficult of a build, this car, to be fair. Quite a simple build, a bit more complicated than the Dome Zero, but has a few more parts and a little bit more detail. All in all, it should be a quite striking build, and I'm looking forward to it, to be fair. All in all, obviously, jokes aside, this is a 30-odd-year-old kit. It's not going to be massively detailed like the modern ones are nowadays. Obviously, people take advantage of the fact that a lot of model cars now have spring suspension, fully detailed engines, etc, etc. This is Fujimi. It was a 1980s kit, 1990s kit, and it was there to make it a very nice striking display model. That's its job, and that's what it'll do. So there we have it, the Jiotto Caspita. If you like the kit, please subscribe below to see any more upcoming reviews. Click the like button, and if there's anything else you want to see, just let me know in the comments below, and I shall do my best to oblige you. Until then, I will see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.